Right now, my garden sucks. It's got a problem, and that problem is me. I've been way too soft on these plants. I really don't like thinning little seedlings or ripping up plants out of the garden. Something just feels wrong about it, you know? Even if they are just weeds. You know, you're taking a plant life. You're sending it up to little plant heaven. We should just let all the plants grow, right? Biodiversity. It's a good thing, isn't it? Well, generally, yes. But when you're talking about plants or weeds, technically a weed is just a plant and it's in a spot that you don't want it. So some of these weeds are just flat out better at growing than some of the things that we have purposefully planted. And they're going to outcompete those plants. And that is 100% what's happening right now in my garden. So let's take a look at the garden. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. All right, here we are in what used to be a bustling tomato alley, now overrun with weeds and disease. If we get closer to the soil, this shit is full of dollar weed. It is everywhere. This is a major issue in my garden. Dollar weed is a really aggressive weed, and it's really hard to control. It's been raining pretty regularly here, which is really causing it to sprout more than normal, which we kind of needed the rain. We are in a severe drought, honestly. But not only is it growing in this small bed that's only a few inches tall, but it's also growing in these beds, which are close to 2.5, 3 feet tall. It's coming up through the ground here, working its way up the bed, finally into here, which you could see there's a ton of other weeds, which I'll talk about in a second. But dollar weed is just like making its way through my garden, and it's pretty difficult to control. So dollar weed, like I said, it's working its way up through these tall garden beds. But let's take a look at Tomato Alley's soil a little bit closer. I don't even know if you could call that soil anymore. That is all just dollar weed. It is taking over. The parts that are soil do look really happy and healthy though. But these are just choking out all of these tomato roots, taking all of the nutrients and stuff from the garden. It's definitely an issue. So another reason why dollar weed is so difficult to control is because it spreads by not only seed, but mostly through its root system. That's why it's like taking over all of these beds. Even as I'm pulling these and ripping these up, I'm leaving little pieces of roots in here. And those are just going to sprout new little dollar weeds everywhere. I've heard people say, oh yeah, control it with a thick layer of mulch. Well, like I said, these garden beds are 2.5, almost 3 feet tall. I'm not laying that thick a layer of mulch down, and they're growing through that. Dollar weed is the major issue here, but I'll show you also, there's tons of Biden's elbow all over the place. Don't judge me. I know I've done a poor job of taking care of this garden. Well, like I said, I have such a hard time killing any kind of plant. But Biden's alba is very useful. This one will be a lot easier to manage and get away from the garden than dollar weed will. So that's the big challenge. So right now it's the beginning of summer, and to be honest, it's my least favorite time to grow stuff. It's so hot and humid and wet, lots of bugs. So I think this is actually the perfect time to just rip everything up, start building the soil. Let's get an early start on planting our fall garden. So bye-bye all this stuff. Old tomatoes, dead cucumbers, squash plant that is getting destroyed by powdery mildew. However, not everything is leaving. I'm going to keep this Florida eggplant we have growing. I'm going to keep these Tynan 64 sweet potato, and also the Seminole pumpkin that seems to be growing halfway decent. Everything else, though, gone. So what's the moral of my disappointing spring garden here in Florida? Well, don't be afraid. Get your hands dirty. Pull some weeds, end some plants' lives. As tough and harsh and hurtful as that is, that's just what needs to happen when you're planting things that you purposefully want to grow. Like I said, these things are going to outcompete your vegetables. And you need to not be afraid. Give your vegetables and the plants that you want to grow some space and nutrients. I'm ripping out the old, we're starting over, we're making way for new growth. Gardening is a constant learning experience. Sometimes you just have to start over and start fresh, build a great foundation. As frustrating as it is dealing with aggressive growers like dollar weed, Biden's alba actually teaches us a lot about perseverance in the garden. And hey, it's not all bad news. We've got Florida eggplant, we got Seminole squash, and we got some really exciting timing 64 sweet potatoes still growing. And we are setting up the foundation for our fall garden early, really going to work on building the soil. So follow along. If you want to see the process, hit subscribe. It will really help the channel out. We're going to turn this garden into something beautiful. Thanks again for watching. It's Josh with FL Gardening. Happy gardening. Hope this helps.